The governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank presents his 2013 review of the OECS Economic Union. The Chinese embassy supports the teaching of Chinese Mandarin at St. John's Academy, and Clear Harbor plans to expand and hire more than 400 employees. Thanks for joining us for another edition of National Focus. I'm Tasia Floissac.
And I'm Jarna, Hector. Stay with us for details of the headline stories and others coming up after this.
Dominica is blessed with an abundance of water, but getting it to your home is an expensive venture. You have a responsibility to conserve water, to use it wisely. Remember the old adage, you never miss the water till the well runs dry. Think water, think life.
Welcome back. Governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, Sir Dwight Venner, has released his 2013 review of the OECS Economic Union. The review outlines the performance of the Economic Union as well as a plan for economic growth as an Eastern Caribbean state nation. In a televised address on Tuesday, the governor stated that never before has the economic space seen such stagnation. Sir Venner described the year 2013 as another financially challenging one for the entire organization and its individual member states.
Our member countries are still grappling with low economic growth, persistent fiscal deficits, rising debt levels, high unemployment, and poverty rates, and some fragility in the financial sector. Once again, the structural characteristics of our countries, namely small size, extreme openness, and high vulnerability to external shocks and natural disasters, have become more evident. Economic and financial developments in the ECCU continue to be shaped by the global economic environment, which is still uncertain, with growth for 2013 likely to be lower.
Governor Venner's review focused on three main points: economic developments in 2013, the main challenges and accomplishments of the year, and the top priorities for the Economic Union in the near to medium term. According to Sir Venner, although slow, economic activity for the year expanded in various sectors in 2013.
Preliminary data indicate that economic activity in the ECCU expanded at a modest pace of 0.7% in 2013, building on the marginal growth of 0.2% achieved in 2012, which reversed the negative growth trends experienced since 2009. The increase in economic activity was primarily driven by improved performances in agriculture, construction, and tourism. The construction sector expanded by 2.9%, following a 4.3% decline in 2012, as public sector construction gained momentum. In the tourism industry, value added is estimated to have increased by 0.4% due to improvements in major source markets and more intensive marketing efforts. However, this rate was lower than the 1.4% growth recorded in 2012.
Despite those dire statistics, an increase in the economic activity is projected within the Eastern Caribbean Union that is attributed to the service sector. Sir Venner listed the specific industries responsible for the upsurge.
The IMF forecasted that world output would expand by 3.6% in 2014. The economies of the USA, the UK, and Canada are forecast to grow by 2.6%, 1.9%, and 2.2% respectively in 2014. Against the backdrop of the positive signs in the global economy, but cognizant of the recent setback in some of our countries, real economic activity in the ECCU is projected to increase by 1.9% in 2014. The expansion in economic activity is expected to be supported by higher levels of output in the construction, hotels and restaurants, wholesale and retail, and transport, storage, and communication sectors.
The governor's review suggests that the socio-economic transformation of the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union is the best solution to grow the regional economy. This, he says, is the long-term solution.
But this is a long-term goal and requires resolute focus on a medium to long-term strategy and the political commitment and social consensus to get there. We must have a vision of what we want and a systematic, pragmatic, and adaptable strategy for achieving our goals. That means that our goals must be clear and measurable, with emphasis on an attainable and sustainable growth rate, a higher level of employment in quality jobs, poverty reduction, and maintenance and improvement of the human development indices.
A medium-term solution was also outlined by the governor.
In the medium term, the top priorities for the region are maintaining a stable currency by implementing policies and programs aimed at high, sustained, and balanced economic growth and development. Continuing efforts at prudent debt management and fiscal reform, and enhancing the resilience of the financial system.
The highlight of the year's achievements, as identified by the governor, was the 30th anniversary of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank last year.
One of our main achievements over this period was the maintenance of currency and financial sector stability, as mandated in the ECCB agreement.
GIS will bring you more from that review in a subsequent newscast.
In other news, management of Clear Harbor has taken a decision to hire 400 employees between now and July 2014. The announcement was made by Chief Operating Officer Brian Lambert at a press conference on Wednesday. In September last year, the company made over 200 employees redundant with a promise to rehire those affected as part of the company's reorganization strategy.
I can't tell you how pleased I am to be here today and to be making the announcement that we're able to make today. I think just about everybody in this room was with us back in September when we made the announcement that we would be making 243 individuals redundant here at Clear Harbor. And I think at that point in time, I told you I was making it my personal objective, to make sure that every one of those men and women here from the island of Dominica was able to come back to work. And I'm here to be able to tell you today that we have secured 2 major clients from North America, and those 2 clients will allow us to not only bring back the 243 folks, but be able to offer 400 jobs here on the island of Dominica.
Clear Harbor has been operating in Dominica for the past 8 years with a current staff of 300. The goal, according to management, is to have 700 Dominicans employed at Clear Harbor by the first half of this year. The Clear Harbor official told members of the media that 60 of the employees who were made redundant last year have been recalled to work, with more employees to be added in phases.
We've actually started already. We've brought back about 60 of the original employees. They are now in training in the building that you just came through. And we will be bringing the rest of the employees on kind of in phases. The 2 clients kind of seesaw, but overall there are about 4 phases that will take place. The end of March, we'll be bringing about 88 more folks back after the 60 that we brought. In April, the end of April, there'll be about 110 folks that will be returning. 118, excuse me. The end of June, another 118 folks. And then in July, about mid-July, we'll bring the last group that we know of that will bring us over the 700 number of about 88 folks in mid-July. So by mid-July, we should have added an additional 400 or so folks back here to the employment ranks. Our objective is to bring back all of the folks that have worked for us before. As I've said before, we have a procedure for that was set up before the employees actually left the company, so they know how they would be returned, in what order, and so on and so forth.
Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit says this development is exciting news for Dominica.
We're very pleased to note that we'll be receiving some 400 jobs. It is a great news for us in Dominica, and I wanted to be here to celebrate this announcement. I should have been in Cuba attending the CELAC meeting, but I cut that summit short and came back this morning just to be here to reinforce our partnership and our commitment to Clear Harbor.
The Prime Minister regards Clear Harbor as a major contributor to Dominica's economy. The country's leader called on those who will be employed to take their jobs at Clear Harbor seriously by being responsible employees.
My hope and prayer is that those who will be engaged will treat their job in a responsible manner, that you ought to come to work on time. You have to give to your employer the hours that you paid for. You'll be being paid to work. It cannot be a situation where you get paid on Friday, and because Monday and Tuesday are carnival days, they don't see you on Wednesday or Thursday. It cannot be a situation where, because the quarterfinals of Calypso is coming up, you will go to this and miss work on Monday. They have to service, Clear Harbor has to service its clients. And if Clear Harbor does not service its clients, it means, therefore, it will not be able to keep those clients and keep us employed. So while Clear Harbor has been going out there to fetch the opportunities, we owe it to them, and we owe it to ourselves, importantly, to ensure that they can keep these 400 jobs, keep these good clients that they have just contracted, and with a view to expanding.
The additional employment has resulted in Clear Harbor increasing its investment in Dominica. The company has leased an additional building from the 8th Bank to house the new staff. Management of Clear Harbor on Wednesday took the opportunity to express gratitude to Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit and the government of Dominica for their efforts in facilitating the expansion of the company on the island.
In more news, the Chinese embassy here has come forward to assist the St. John's Academy in its efforts to teach the Chinese Mandarin language at the school. On Tuesday, Chinese ambassador to Dominica, His Excellency Li Jiaoning, visited the Catholic school and made a presentation of books, dictionaries, and other resource materials. That donation will facilitate the teaching and learning of the Chinese language and culture at the St. John's Academy. The Chinese ambassador in his remarks expressed his appreciation of the school's attempt to teach the Chinese Mandarin language, saying that the benefits are endless.
In today's world, we need a lot more people with very good language skills to communicate between nations, cultures, economies, to make things work, to do business, but above all, in my opinion, to have an open mind and learn from each other and understand each other.
The Chinese ambassador, who himself had to learn English as a foreign language, encouraged students to approach the journey of learning Chinese Mandarin with commitment.
When the going gets tough, success will not be far behind. Listen to your teachers. They are here to help you. In times of difficulty and frustration, you can count on your teachers to help you go through. It's hard work, but there's beauty and reward in it.
Principal of the St. John's Academy, Dr. Juliana Magloire, says the introduction of Chinese Mandarin at the school is in keeping with the institution's goal to create holistic individuals for the 21st century.
A century wherein the world will be a different place, where business and commerce will inevitably involve rapprochement with China the Asian subcontinent, and that the world becoming a smaller place through IT, internet technology, we cannot say that we will develop young people for the world if we neglect another part of the world and another culture which is making its impact on human society. And so we are happy that you have taken an interest in the fact that we at St. John's Academy have taken the initiative, have broken new ground in education here in Dominica.
It is anticipated that the Chinese language will soon become the most beneficial languages in the 21st century, as many scholars have already coined this century as the Asian century. Chinese language teacher at the school, Dominican Kim Douglas, is encouraged by the collaboration of the Chinese embassy in this noble endeavor.
Going forward, we hope to work hand in hand with the Chinese embassy to enable us to provide a comprehensive introduction to Chinese language and culture, and to get our students excited about the enormous strides being made by the Chinese civilization.
The students at the school are excited about learning to speak the Chinese language.
When they first introduced Chinese to me, I was a bit worried that I wouldn't pass the class. But now I find that I am catching up fast and that it is getting quite easier for me to learn.
Tasia how, what Jiao Ki and Barry, what should Dominican, what Jazai Portsmouth, what Jayo Wugaren. I would like to learn Chinese so that I could go to China to further my studies or even work in China. When they first introduced me to Chinese, I was lost. But as time progressed, I got to understand it.
Tasia how, what Jiao Felix Lawrence, what Jazai Glanville, what should Dominican, what Jayo Liogaren. Chinese is a very interesting language. I could get a scholarship to go to China to study, and I would love to be a linguist. I thought it would be easy at first, but it was not. As time passed by, I advanced and learned the lesson more.
I want to learn Chinese because it is a very interesting language and it is not widely spoken in the Caribbean. The experience of learning Chinese so far has been very interesting, fun, and educational.
The St. John's Academy is the second school in Dominica to add the Chinese Mandarin language to its curriculum. The Orion Academy was the first.
Tasia, this is not a story that we read every day. It's a very interesting story. I have my thoughts on it. What are yours?
Well, Jarna, I believe that as individuals, it's always good for us to, learn a second language or foreign language that will help us if we have to study abroad or if we have to communicate with people within our own country who speak that language. So I think it's a very good initiative taken by the St. John's Academy to implement that in their curriculum. They're teaching the younger children who, as far as we know, have a wider capacity for learning.
Right.
And henceforth, if they go out, let's say, to China, they get a scholarship, it'll be easier for them to communicate with the people there. And as I was reading, I also remember that the ambassador Li Jiangning actually learned our language to come here. So why not at least learn their language to communicate better with them?
I see this story as the perfect example of a bilateral relationship. This is a country that Dominica has been working with for a long time, and this is a country that we see in various sectors of our development. We see them in housing, in infrastructure, in education, in technical support. And it's good that the dignitaries can get involved on such a personal level, because this new ambassador, he just came on board recently, and here he is at the school just supporting, and I think that's very encouraging. It would be good if other partners that we have would jump on board just like that and encourage their language to be taught in schools. That would be something very different.
I do agree. I mean, for example, you have like other embassies, like the Venezuelan embassies, implementing programs, for community individuals to learn like music, dances, and so forth. So I think it's a very good program that we can implement in Dominica on a whole, not just the schools.
I see in future the Chinese culture being more part of ours, you know, or maybe some of Dominica's culture going back to China.
Going back to China, I think it already has. You know, we have so many students going over there to study. You never know, we could have some Chinese coming here and say, hey, I met some Dominicans, they taught me how to cook saltfish or something like that, you know. So I think it's really good because, you know, the world is multinational, multidimensional right now. So it's a very good initiative.
I agree.
And finally, the Ministry of Health has confirmed that there are 3 more cases of chikungunya virus on the island. The cases confirmed are from districts of Marigot, Casabruce, and Roseau. Chikungunya is a viral disease carried mainly by the Aedes aegypti mosquito and causes dengue-like symptoms. Those symptoms include sudden high fever, severe pain in the wrists, ankles or knuckles, muscle pain, headache, nausea, and rash. The ministry informs that it continues to respond through an integrated management and prevention strategy, which involves clinical and laboratory surveillance and vector control activities. The Ministry of Health advises the public to take precautionary measures to prevent the breeding of the Aedes aegypti mosquito. Citizens are asked to do weekly inspection of their homes and yards in order to eliminate potential mosquito breeding sites, indoors and outdoors. The ministry reported its first case of the virus on January 16, 2014, which was imported by an individual who traveled to St. Martin. And that's it for the English segment of National Focus. Macpherson St. Louis is next with the Creole highlights.
Allô tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole, non moins c'est Macpherson St. Louis. Premièrement, Dominique déjà finalisé tout rangement administratif et puis légal pour Union économique OECS. Parole celle-là sorti ambassadeur Dominique pour OECS et puis CARICOM, His Excellency Félix Grégoire.
Pour en partie de nous parler contre Unity, CARICOM, Caribbean Unity, OECS Unity. Ça présent, nous les parler, mais nous les action, nous les fait bien pour ces monde-là, ces peuples-là, ces pays-là, bénéficier à ça nous qu'a faire. So, gouvernement qui a passé loi, tous ces gouvernements qui a passé loi, pour faire monde voyager en pays pour un autre, aisé, plus aisé. Ça présent si vous allez travailler dans l'autre pays, pas besoin ça vous avez work permit, permis pour travailler. Si vous allez dans l'autre pays, vous n'êtes pas obligé de mettre un passeport et puis si vous avez un ID, Identification Card, qui est un portrait, pour votre portrait, ce n'est pas portrait d'autre monde, portrait, vous pouvez présenter ça par immigration, et vous pouvez entrer. Si vous allez là, vous ces places-là, vous ne pouvez pas demander combien de jours vous avez été, combien de semaines vous avez été. Vous avez été, là, longtemps vous avez été, là, vous avez sorti. Mais vous avez tapé indefinite stay, ça veut dire que vous avez été là tout l'été. So c'est qualité ça que nous avons fait pour les gens voyager en pays.
Ambassadeur Grégoire dit, Dominique déjà fait toute bagaille pour citoyens voyager pays OECS sans peste problème. Ambassadeur Grégoire fait parole qui Dominicains qui espèrent ces problèmes en port pays OECS si vous contacter l'office taper solution.
C'est rangement ça là, mais vous pouvez toujours taper en des difficultés les entrer. Pas toujours. Ou ça taper, ou pas supposé taper, mais ou ça taper. Si vous tapez problème, ou ça venir financial center, premier floor état, avec nous office là, regional integration, ou ça dit nous ça qui fait, avec nous qui garder comme ça pour nous arranger ça.
À la nouvelle, plusieurs projets infrastructure qui bâtit tout un pays en bas programme pour combattre le changement climatique et puis finance banque la terre. Si l'homme ministre environ, honorable Dr. Kenneth Darrow, d'autres bagailles qui tapent attention.
Le projet là, c'est un bon mixture, ça m'a créé WED, more level WED project, project infrastructure, parce que si nous coupons ça, climate change, nous pour protéger ça nous déjà. Ça donne déjà. Et plus qu'il y a c'est l'argent ça a calé, ça nous a développer infrastructure non. pour adresser ces high risk disasters areas à Dominique place ko Petit Soufrière, place ko Dubic, c'est d'autres places là. Nous avons d'autres soft project small qui a adressé capacity building, l'argent qui a pour improve ça nous a monitoring, seismic monitoring. Nous savons nous vivre dans un pays qui est volcanique, nous exposer pour possibilité earthquake c'est ça. So nous allons mettre un state of the art up to date monitoring unit en place pour detect signs of earthquake bonne. So nous avons food security, nous avons presque $6 to $7 million pour agriculture, ça c'est pour développer strains, crops, drought resistant, climate resilient crops. A lot of bit.
À la nouvelle, compagnie Clear Harbor fait annoncement qui a poussé et puis plan pour employer 400 dominicains. Officier compagnie là, Brian Lambert, fait annoncement là jeudi pendant conférence média. Lambert fait parole qui compagnie là tapé des clients l'Amérique qui a engagé en affaires télécoms et puis insurance. Et aussi fait parole qui compagnie là qui a moun en plusieurs phases où là il aussi tapé traitement. Lambert dit que les gens qui étaient affectés pendant qu'ils ont expérimenté difficultés l'année passée, qui étaient à priorité. Il dit qu'ils ont employé tous ces gens, ça qui fait plus gros quantité de gens qui ont employé en 9 l'année ici. En même temps aussi, pour le ministre Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt, fait parole que le gouvernement Dominique bien excité pour l'annoncement là, consacré à la situation employement en Dominique. Honorable Skerritt a organisé la compagnie là, qu'on qui a aidé l'économie. Et aussi créer à ces gens qui ont tapé travail pour prendre responsabilité à eux en travaillant. Finalement, chairman Nef Village Council Pébouche d'Odan Hubert Rémy, qui a gardé devant pour implémenter plusieurs projets en communauté là. Rémy fait parole ça pendant l'inauguration council là, semaine passée.
Moi, je voulais voir chemin live après. Comme vous savez, chemin live après sont un chemin qui est bien important pour le village Pébouche. On pile fois qui il pas gagné de l'eau en place là. Et because live après ni on source tout le monde Pébouche qui a trouvé qu'on est là. Avec nous, j'ai pavé la valeur 50 liés chemin. Comme ça, nous devons finir chemin là. Aussi en Grand Rivière à Dodan, nous savons que nous avons notre pôle, notre pôle qui représente tout village Pébouche avec Dodan, avec Chimela qui a rentré en village, il n'est pas bon, nous avons commencé, comme ça nous avons dit que nous devons voir fini, aussi nous voulons commenter, nous voulons complimenter Monsieur Matthew Walter, comme vous savez que chemin Providence pas côté fini. Et à présent l'argent sorti pour nous finir chemin là. Nous devons remercier aussi pour chemin live beau plan. Comme vous savez que moun teni un paquet de problèmes car jambe live là on pile l'applicateur comme ça nous voir que quelque chose commence à faire.
Messieurs mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelle en créole pour à présent. Non moins c'est Macpherson St. Louis. Au revoir.
Coming up is the tip of the day.
Together we build, together we strive. We see it all on your government information service, Channel 7. This is the Government Information Service, bringing you all that you need to know about all that's happening in your country's development. GIS, you and your channel.
Use baking soda and vinegar to prevent a dirty iron from sticking on your clothing or dirty in your whites. Clean the inside of an iron by pouring white vinegar until it is 1/3 full. Turn it on to medium or high heat setting and let it steam for about 5 minutes so all the vinegar evaporates.
Repeat the same method with clean water to remove traces of vinegar. When dealing with stubborn stains and rust at the iron's plate, rub a paste of 2 teaspoons of baking soda and a little water on the affected area. Wipe it off and voila. I did not know that. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website news.gov.dm.
Friend us on our Facebook page and be sure to like our GIS Dominica fan page. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire news production team, I'm Tasia Floissac.
And I'm Jarna Hector. Thank you for watching.